Hi everyone, I'm Aanam. I go by Aanam C on the internet, and Happy New Year. We're officially in 2024, and as promised, you and I are going to have some more amazing conversations this year. How am I going to seize this year? How is 2024 going to be mine? I have a lot of thoughts about this. I don't want this intro to be long, so let's dive right into it. One of the things a lot of you asked me for when I shared my morning routine video was what are the affirmations that I find really, really useful. And while this is a very subjective conversation, I thought that this would be a great way to let you know the things that I am manifesting for myself in my life and of course in this year as well. I feel like the minute you find yourself in healthy routines, your mental stability just kind of shines brighter than ever. 2023 for me had a lot of highs but had a lot more lows, and I think that one of the things that really pulled me out each and every one of those times was being able to find my positive mindset once again. I am one of those people that believes that if you're going through a low period or if you're upset about something and sad about something, you can't fake positivity. So just feel it all, and that's totally fine, but also know how to find yourself back again and bounce back. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you a few of many of my personal affirmations that I think really help, and how we can come towards achieving a positive mindset together as a community. Who knows, if this video does well, we'll do more parts to this particular video as well. If you stick around till the end of this video, you will also know where and how I have worked around these affirmations and how you can truly incorporate them into your life. So make sure you stick around till the end of this video. Chapters are obviously going to be there to help you and I make this just more optimized for your lifestyle choices and time. Number one, I'm great at making the most of my resources. One of the things that I think we all get stuck in is comparing ourselves to others, and in so many moments saying it was easier for so and so because they had so many more resources than me. And while I think that in certain situations there is an obvious difference in what one can achieve based on where you're starting off from, truth of life, if you ask me, and we just have to find ourselves ways to work around it. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So if you have a certain number of lemons, at least make lemonade of those. That's kind of where I'm going with this particular thought or affirmation, whatever you'd like to call it. I think it's very important that instead of constantly telling yourself, I don't have as much as X person, you need to probably and this is a weird way to put it, I don't know how else to word it, because obviously it sounds weird for lack of any other way of describing it. It might help to look at someone else who has lesser, and that'll help you be more grateful for what you have. Of course, be empathetic and sympathetic towards those that have less than you. Somewhere in your heart, I always feel it's very important that when you get more in life, don't build a bigger wall, build a bigger dining table. You know, there was this proverb going around, and I think it really stuck with me. I read this one in my teens. So learn to give more and share more instead of guard more is the point of this. I think it's really important to understand that gratitude may not come as organically or genuinely to everyone. So if it helps you to see someone that has something less than you have more of, hopefully that should work as a gratitude exercise. It's a really weird example we're starting off this video on. The second thing to consider is that what you have is not necessarily like your starting point, is not your ending point. It is a starting point. Yes, you may have to work harder than some others. Yes, you will have to learn to be more efficient. Work smart, don't necessarily always work hard, and that's a controversial statement there that we can unpack at another time. But I do think that it's just so important to not dismiss your existing resources. Something as bare minimum as you have a working mind, heart, body, you're healthy, your hands work, your legs work, and it's so important to value that. It sounds and feels like the bare minimum, but actually for those people who may not have these things, it's a lot. So please cherish, have gratitude, and make the most of the resources you do have, and don't dismiss them, because there's no such thing as too small, and because your starting point is not your ending point. I can work through any obstacle by staying calm. I have a little confession to make over here. I've always been a very bubbly, chatty, maybe I won't say loud, but maybe like medium loud kind of a person. There's a lot of energy in there, right? And of course there are moments and times when I have had a knee-jerk reaction to things, or I have said something and I'm like, oh, you know what, I just want to give it back. But to be honest, I think I'm 32 years old, just for perspective. Over the last couple of years, when something has happened, I feel like I go more into like, I'm going to take a minute and see how my mind and body want to address this. Is this something I want to give weight to? Does it have weight by itself? Nothing has weight by itself. Do you choose to get bothered by something? Do you choose to ignore that same something and taking its power away from it? Those are the kind of situations that really show your character and your ability to deal with absolutely crazy situations, obstacles, right? I think it's just very important to assess and see how you want to prioritize those things. These are not things that can happen overnight. I think that it either takes a lot of tribulation, a lot of bumps even, and just in general, a lot of patience and practice to come to a point where you can say, no, I'm going to stay on my energy's wavelength and I'm not going to be affected by so and so. There are times that I slip up even now. I don't want to make it sound like I'm a perfect person, because hell no, I am not. Having said that, I do think that I've gotten better, and this is one of those moments where I'm going to pat myself on the back and say, I'm better at this now. I'm better at staying calm. I'm better at just reacting in a way that I look back at, certain amount of weeks, months, years later and say, I'm proud of managing that with grace. I think that it was a quote in college, because I studied BMM. Ernest Hemingway was the author, and I think the quote really stayed with me. It said, grace under pressure. And that has really, really stayed with me since I read it. So I think I read it when I was like 2009, and we're in 2024 now as you're watching this video. So it stuck with me for this long. Grace under pressure. I am respected by myself as well as others. I think that self-doubt is your own worst enemy, right? I think that it's very easy to assume that when someone is looking at you, it's because there's something on your face or your hair's gone, a little bit, or is like, you think of the worst case scenario. You don't think of how someone could be looking at you and being like, oh, she looks so pretty. I feel like it's important to realize that you are not always sticking out for a bad reason. You could be sticking out for a good reason at times. You are respected. Someone is asking you your opinion on something. It's not so that they can crack a joke or be sarcastic about something. It could also very well be because they actually value and cherish your opinion. I think it's also important for you to be able to state your opinion even when you're not asked in certain situations, because asserting yourself is so important. I know I'm going a little bit in a different direction from what the affirmation says, but I just wanted to throw it out there because my mind works in like 50 different directions at one time. It's important to be able to respect yourself enough to say, hey, I don't have to second guess myself in this moment. My opinion actually should matter and does matter, and here's what I think. I'm good at standing up for myself as well as others. And say that again with me one more time. I am good at standing up for myself as well as others. I really think that there are too many people out there who let things just kind of pass them by. Moments where you should stand up for yourself. Don't be a doormat. Please. I think that out of sheer fear of being impolite or fear of being rude, we forget that somebody else is actually being rude to us in this moment, and we need to be able to say, hey, wait a minute. I'm not okay with you speaking to me like that. Or, hey, what you're saying is not actually a compliment. It sounds condescending, or it's more like a backhanded compliment. Say these things out loud. The minute you start saying these things out loud, it's like you have to practice it, okay? And the minute you start to speak more of your thoughts, the easier it'll become. So many times I get asked by some friends of mine who are not as good as vocalizing their thoughts and opinions on the spot. Like, I'm someone who will like think of something and say it, but it's taken me like practice, because I have to give credit to my parents for this. They always said, voice your opinion, say what you have to think. And so I have a couple of friends who always be like, सूझता कैसे है देखो उस टाइम पे कुछ बोलने का, and I'm like, जो मुझे सूझता है मैं बोल देती हूँ. हम सबको कुछ ना कुछ सूझता है. We just don't say it because some part of our mind or our conditioning says, no, let it be respectful. No, you don't want to be difficult. Be difficult if difficult means you can get to stand up for yourself. And not just for yourself, I think it's so important to stand up for those around you. So many times we have the privilege, the opportunity to be able to stand up for someone else that may not have the chance to do that. And I think it's just very important to see those opportunities, see those moments, and live through those times knowing that at the end of it, you did the right thing. I never want to look back at something later and be like, you know what? I should have stood up for that person in that scenario. I never want to regret that, because self-respect and just dignity is so important to everyone. And it doesn't matter what strata of society you come from, everyone values being valued, and everyone just cherishes being heard and listened to and being defended for. And I think that that's just really precious to me, and I hope that more people are going to be able to do that. More women particularly are going to be able to do that. I'm honest with myself, and that is my superpower. This is something I can wholeheartedly say about myself in all honesty. The good, the bad, the ugly, the weird. I think that one of the things we need to learn to do is identify when you are the problem. There are moments when I look back and say, you know what, I could have done better in that situation when it comes to just either treating myself with more grace or treating someone else with more grace. I think it's so important to be able to say, you know, that TikTok sound that was going around in the middle, am I the drama? Yeah, maybe I'm the drama. That I'm like, maybe you just need to be real with yourself and say, hey, that's a problem area, so don't go trying to fix it. Like, my toxic trait is I want to go and try and fix every situation if there is an issue between me and someone else. Some moments you just have to say, you're gonna make it worse, let it be, let it go. Because I sometimes say no, but I want to go, and it makes it worse. So I have to be honest with myself and say, you know what, you're the problem. I always have heard like people in my family say this, and I don't know who said it first because I was clearly really young when I heard it. इंसान की नियत बदल सकती है, उसकी फितरत नहीं बदल सकती है. And you can only go so far as to help someone, aid someone, fix a situation, find a solution, or any of those things. And I just think you need to be real with yourself when you're making the problem worse, or when you are the deep-rooted problem itself. I think in all of these scenarios, it's very important to realize, what are you contributing into this? Are you contributing to the solution, or are you contributing to the problem? And if there is no solution and you keep digging to find the solution, then you become part of the problem, not the solution. In some situations, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, you tell me, the solution is to leave it. And you need to identify when you're becoming part of the problem and being honest with yourself about this. Underlining this, very, very important. The unknown does not frighten me, it excites me. And I think that we've all been on both sides of this. There are certain phases in our lives where I think we've gotten more excited about things, and then there are certain phases in our lives when we've gotten more frightened. But the more we train our brain to go more towards being excited rather than frightened, the more you will be able to live life to a fuller extent. I think it is so important to understand that while some of us think worst case scenarios, whether it's a contingency plan, whether it's because you're a solution oriented person, whether it's because you happen to be a pessimist, it could be any other reason also, any of these reasons or any other reason also. I think it's so important to consider that, okay, this could go wrong, but what if it doesn't? Just in that off chance, what if it doesn't? Allow, like, you have to be able to talk yourself into and out of different emotions. I had a very close friend, I still have this very, very close friend in my life, who, this is story time, who was crushing on this boy. We were in the 10th standard and he was a little bit older, like he was already in college or something. And I said, you know, does he show interest in you or whatever? And she was like, I'm going to give this the next 3 to 4 months till I really genuinely feel this crush. And if he makes a move or lets me know that he is interested, then I am going to, like, obviously then that's great. But if it's not, I'm going to talk my mind out of getting over him. And literally 10th standard, so I'm talking about 2006, 2007, that stayed with me because I was like, it is this beautiful ability if you have this connection with your mind and your brain where you are able to talk yourself into and out of different moods and different just mindsets and phases, right? And so I think it would be so cool where in a moment where you're possibly afraid of a thought, if something's going to happen, and then you can just say, wait 1 second, let's just switch this for a second and let it excite me. And you never know which way it'll go, so let it excite you. Then if the fear wala thing happens, okay, cool, you're prepared for that anyway, because that was another thought you had. But let it excite you. Talk yourself into getting excited about things that may otherwise intimidate you, but let it excite you. Be able to program your mind in a way to be able to program your mind to work in a way that works in your benefit. It is a beautiful feeling. I am capable of conquering the hard things with ease. Circling back to what I just said easier, it's a mindset. What if you find something tough and then you wake up and say, you know what? Today, I'm going to find the easiest way to do this. It's like long-term goals versus short-term goals. I'm going to take that hard thing, I'm going to break it up into 4 parts or 4 steps or 4 phases and see how I can conquer it one part at a time. And it could really, really, really work for you. So I feel like it's so important to be able to say, okay, that's a hard thing, but what if today I wake up and I want to make it easy for myself? Can I make it easy? Whom can I call? How can I break it down? How can I get my mind to work this or think of this in a way that's actually favorable to my solution, to my situation? I feel like those kind of things are just really important to consider and see, and how to manipulate your own mind into making something easier in that sense, because it's one of those life hacks that doesn't get talked about enough. Just changing your mindset. Again, it sounds like I'm saying something, oh yeah, change your mindset, you're done, bro. No, it takes time. You will take some practice to get in a position where you can say, hey, I really want to be able to do this differently. Think of it in another way. It'll take time, yes, but is it worth the effort? Yes, and yes, it is worth the effort. I am grateful for where my choices have led me to. So often and too often we're like, but what if I had done that? Do you think that life was actually meant for me? I think it's so important not to go in that zone, because you will drive yourself crazy. I mean, it's a multitude of universes in your brains then, because every one decision affects the other in your life. It's like a domino effect. If I got into London College of Fashion in 2012 for a master's course, and last minute, because of a few things, I had to pull out of that and not be able to, I couldn't make it for that course in a nutshell. If I had gone there, and my mind has wandered in that direction in the last 11-12 years, and I'm like, if I had gone to London and I was already a blogger by then, where could I have been? That life would have been completely different from mine, hopefully, and it could have been such an exciting opportunity to be able to, live that life. Having said that, I probably wouldn't be as close to my parents then, because I would have left the country at a much younger age. I definitely wouldn't have been able to meet my husband. I don't think I would have made all the friends that I've had the opportunity to make over the last 10 years. There are so many experiences that I've had that are so, so beautiful. Also, what if I went to London, but I just didn't end up becoming a blogger because I had to take up part-time jobs to make ends meet? There are so many variables, layers, and complications to the ifs and buts of life. Just don't let your head go in that direction, because then there's no way you can truly predict what could have or could have not happened in those scenarios. I think it's just very important to realize that every single decision led you where you are today, where you are meant to be. You are there because you were designed. Your brain, your mind, your destiny, your fate, whatever you choose to call it, whatever you choose to believe in it, led you to this position because you were meant to be here. No regrets. There never should be any. Without a doubt, I'm worth it. And you don't have to be a L'Oreal product for this. I mean it very, very truly. I think that so many people doubt their self-worth, or doubt what they contribute, or doubt whether they belong, or doubt whether they're on the right path, or doubt whether they're worth it. And I just want to tell you that it doesn't matter and the answer to any of those things that I just said. What's important for you to know is that if you believe you are a good person, if you believe that you care for others, if you believe that you are enough, I think it's enough for you to say, I am worth it. I think it is so important to believe it, to then work towards a life that will help build that from there. It's so important to think that sometimes you just have to be, what's the term we're using, the Gen Zs are using, you have to be a certain level of delulu in these times for the sululu to come out of it. It sounds crazy and bizarre, but it makes sense. It's almost like you need to work your mind in a way to manifest certain situations that will work for you if you know how to make it work for you. It's like a secret code or a puzzle that only you have the answer to, and it's inside your mind already. You just have to figure out what it is. It sounds like I'm talking about Inception, like it's that complicated, but it's not. You just have to believe in yourself to find the answer. The Harry Potter heads over here might get this, but when he looks into the mirror of Erised at the end of, Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone, part 1, book 1, movie 1, whichever, whether you're a book or movie person, you have to believe that the stone lies in your pocket for the stone to actually appear in your pocket. It's the simplest example that I can think of that I think we'll all relate to. I am going to assume we have a lot of Potterheads over here. I am the hero of my own life. I need you to say this with me a couple of times. I am the hero of my own life. I am the hero of my own life. I'm the hero of my own life. Your hero has no gender, so I just want to clarify. I think it's so important to, when you hear things like romanticize your life, and I didn't understand what that meant when I was reading it a couple of times when this phrase came up somewhere around the pandemic or after 2020 or after, I should say, and like things like main character energy, and I'm like, yeah, but if you're not the main character energy, then what are you? Like for you are the main character, right? For nobody imagines for themselves to be a side character in their own movie. Nobody else can be the main character of their life. You have to be the main character of your life. So don't wait around for some prince to come save you. You are the queen. You will do your own saving. You will do your own conquering. You will do your own winning. I think a part of our generation, I'm a millennial, I was born in 1991, has somewhere, I think we may have hopefully unlearned some of it over the last decade. But somewhere we've all been like, the prince will come and save you, or you will kiss that frog and he will turn into a prince. Those are the best case scenarios because you're saving the man there. Which also, please, how to fix men and why not to bother fixing men is a separate video. But I think it's so important to just think and realize that only you can save yourself. In most situations of life, of course, there are caveats to everything. I think it's so important to realize that if you imagine somebody else as the main character of your life, you are sidetracking yourself. Put yourself first. In the previous video that I posted, I talked about how it's not bad to be selfish with the right caveats. I think you need to put yourself first. You need to prioritize yourself. You need to put yourself on that center stage and see how you can perform. You have to be able to bring confidence. And again, there's so many layers to everything and every point that I'm saying, but these are things that will take time and work. But it is only when you believe that the stone is in your pocket that the stone will come into your pocket. Kind of going back to that over here. I can see myself in my dream role. I have a little weird story time to share with you on this one. I was about 12 or 13 years old, and one of my really, really close friends, this was the second time in my school life that a really close friend from school was moving overseas. My first best friend, first friend of life ever moved to America when we were 7 or 8 years old. And this was the second time, I think maybe I wasn't even 12, maybe I was like 10. She was moving to Toronto. And I remember thinking, what's the point of making close friends? They all keep moving away and this is weird and sad and lonely. And I remember at that point of time telling myself that, you know what, I want to be successful and have so many friends, and I want to be, I want to stay ambitious, but I want friends to invite me and want me, and I will make time for the friends that truly matter. But I want to be busy in my own career and life, and I don't know how and why, but this got wired so early into my head, and I did not realize till maybe 2018 when I started therapy that, oh my God, I am living literally that life. There's a flip side to that you really have to work to make time for the relationships you care about. And sometimes it is my fault. I want to have more people in my life on the personal front, but I don't have the time and physical bandwidth to be everywhere. I am someone that runs 3 different businesses. Apart from being a content creator, I run Verified, which is a beauty brand. And the third thing I do that I don't think enough people know about is I also consult with a bunch of brands on what they should do on their media fronts, social media, digital, influencer stuff, and all of that stuff. I started doing that in 2014, and I've been doing that on and off for clearly almost 10 years now. It's how I met my husband. I'm living that life, and there are sacrifices I've made that I would make all over again if you ask me. But I think it's just really important to remind myself that this was my dream role. The reason I'm willing to make those sacrifices is because I want to be here. If I had to go through the entire journey and path all over again, I would do this. Between my first year, second year, junior college, first year, second year, BMM, I did 14 internships. I started freelancing halfway through my second year BMM. So about a year and a half in college right there, I had already started working for multiple brands, F&B, fashion, local boutiques, and helping them with social media and stuff. There was no Instagram at that time. It was Facebook and Twitter. And for my F&B clients, it was managing their Zomato pages. There was no Swiggy back then either. And I think that the dream role that I carved for myself, or subconsciously even manifested, is what I think I'm living now. And I'm so grateful for that. Alhamdulillah. I think it's just important to keep reminding yourself. And this is how I want to get here. I've heard this phrase a bunch of times, and sometimes I believe in it and sometimes I don't, because I think that the occasion of what you're dressing for is also so important. But the phrase I'm talking about that I've read is dress for the part you want, not for the part you have. And I don't know about the dress part, because like I said, I'm on the fence about that and I go back and forth a little bit. But I think it would be so nice if you can imagine that part that you are aiming for, and not necessarily the one you currently have. It's about constantly finding a way to upgrade your life. Which leads me to another one, which is kind of connected. My dreams are becoming my reality. This one is kind of stepping on the toes of what I said earlier, because it's only when you start to envision it and you start to believe in it, where you can almost close your eyes and see yourself living that dream life, will it really come to mind. I should go back and reference the Harry Potter thing I said earlier. Of course, there's ways to do it, so many different ways to do it. People believe in vision boarding, there's journaling, there's affirmations. I do affirmations in my own voice. You know about this already if you've seen the morning routine video. I think that whatever format works for you, just believe that your dreams are becoming your reality, and of course, work towards it. Goes without saying, but I just want to put it out there. Today will be even better than yesterday. And since I'm posting this video on 1st of Jan, I want to say 2024 will be even better than 2023. If your 2023 was a fantastic, absolutely mind-blowing year, there is a very good chance that 2024 can be even better. I think it's the way, again, that you think of things, you work towards things, how far you're willing to go to make that dream a reality, how much work are you putting in. Again, there are so many factors that come into it, but the more you tell yourself and program your mind to think that it is becoming reality, the more you will start behaving like it. And the more you start behaving like it, you will start to see results. I think that so many things take time to really start, because we're either intimidated or we think it's going to be a really long, intimidating process. What you need to tell yourself is that once you just get started now and you start seeing results, that adrenaline rush, that serotonin, dopamine, whatever rushes you're going to get, will keep you in the game. It is just about that initial jump. It's like getting on the trampoline, and then from there you just have to trust the way it's been programmed. I was going to say it's just that simple. I understand it's not that simple, but just get started. Just get started. Today, I am stepping into countless possibilities. This is where you imagine for your life to be a big fat Dharma or Yash Raj movie. This is where you go ahead and tell yourself that absolutely anything is possible today. Doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Doesn't matter what's scheduled for tomorrow, or how dreadful or how scary or intimidating it is be. Today is yours. It is the present. It is your gift. The past is gone. You cannot do anything to change it. Don't worry about the future. You'll live through it when it comes the next day. Today is about you doing everything that counts. You don't want to, at the end of the day, think, आज ये कर ही लेना चाहिए था. तो कर लो ना. कल करे सो आज कर, right? We've all heard that phrase. I think it's just very important to act on these things. Remind yourself, hold yourself accountable, keep notepads, journals, bullet points, anything that will help. Think of it, write it down. If you're someone that suddenly thought of something, quickly open your phone, your notes app, put it down there. We all think of things where we're like, I want to do this someday. Put a timeline to it. It's the setting goals. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do it by this period. Keep that alarm on your phone. Use the reminders app on your iPhone. I feel like it's so important to take these long-term goals and break them up into short-term goals. It makes life and things less complicated, more achievable, realistically doable even. You know what I mean? I know I've been talking for the last half an hour over here, and I don't want this video to go on too long. There's so much over here on my list. I promised you I would tell you where and how I've come about these affirmations. So Verified, my brand, basically at its core is all about just you are verified. We always believe that. We believe that everyone's included. We believe that absolutely everyone must be part of the conversation, that everyone deserves to be here with absolutely no exceptions. And I really wanted to get into merch. This is me spilling secrets, okay? I really wanted to get into merch. We considered different kinds of things, the conventional things like bags, pouches, caps, sweatshirts, hoodies, clothes. We considered everything. And I said, I scrapped a lot of it out, and I said, you know what, at its core, who we are as a brand, I want to do affirmation cards. So a few months ago, I started noting and designing and working with my team to create these affirmations. We also worked on a sample deck, for that matter, like a whole set, and we thought we would launch it in December. We haven't obviously and clearly launched it, purely because we weren't sure how many people would be interested in that. Coming from a place of, obviously there is a production cost of making really high quality affirmation cards that I would want you guys to have in your bag or your purse or at your bedside at all times. But I said, I don't want this idea to go to waste. Nevertheless, we may not have produced a bunch. We only made samples at our end. Someday, maybe we'll actually get into merch. I think that that's a big hope of mine and a big dream of mine that I want to bring to reality. But I thought that I don't want this idea to go to waste nevertheless. And so through this video, I decided to share some of those affirmations with you. There are a lot more on my list. It's open over here next to me on my laptop, and I have the samples here too. I just thought that I would share this little tidbit with you, spill some secrets on just the general direction of how I see Verified growing into more of your life. Hopefully, we are a beauty brand, but I think at our core, we want to be part of your lives in more ways, and we don't want to be just another makeup brand. That's something that I'm very, very clear on. And if you've seen the page or seen the website, I think you know the fact that we do our no edit, no filter stamps and all of that is something that I'm very passionate about. I want to keep it real, whether it's me as a creator or me as the founder of my beauty brand. So now you know where and how all these affirmations have come about for me and that I wanted to share with you. There are so many more. If you guys want to see more of this video, you know what to do. Tell me down below in the comments. You know I'm always reading, liking, hearting and responding to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your love and support all through 2023. I hope that we can make our relationship even stronger and deeper in 2024. I love you so much. I'm going to see you in the next one, and Happy New Year once again. Bye.